and you have to put an image in there. I mean, I mean, I've worked in auto shops since first time I worked in an automotive shop was in 1987. So for a long time, I've been in automotive shops.
Yeah.
And when I was young, it was like, okay, it's Friday afternoon, it's time to clean the shop, we got to straighten everything out. And I didn't get it for the first probably 4 or 6 months. And then I finally got it. I was like, okay, there's a purpose to this. You're not going to come in and get your car restored. I work in a restoration shop. So you're not going to come and get your car restored when you go in somewhere and there's 4 inches of dust on the ground. There has to be a showroom. There has to be a place that has stuff on display, whether it's just a fender, whether it's a whole car, whatever it is. You need to show your wares. You can't just walk in and be like, there's a scaggy old shop and there's a hole in the wall and the floor's torn up and it's all.
Well, that's the thing. When you think mechanic shops, the first thing most people think are greasy, stuff everywhere.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Somebody painted that image at some point in time in the past for the industry to be viewed that way. Not relevantly, but then when you think detail shops, most people think just like when they say, oh, like up front, when they say, oh, he's around back, you would have no idea how many people walk right past my bay and go to look at the back side of the building. Because in their head, it's a painted image that, oh, it's a detail shop, he must have a tint out back. Mm-hmm. That's just the image they have. For some point in decade in the industry of detailing, that's the image that was perceived as detailers. And that's where like you can embrace that and actually use it to your advantage by building something greater. And if everybody does that, now for that decade, we just created a new image for our industry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's what Rennie Doyle and I were talking about it, because he was saying something about, if I see one more before and after split hood that's not in somebody's showroom, and that the caveat there is that that's the place for that, right? I mean, everybody loves to show it before and after, and everybody does it, and that's great because that's the only really thing it's like weight loss, right? If I walk in and go, hey, I used to be 300 pounds. Well, unless you see that picture before, you don't understand that.
Yeah.
But the same is true with having something in your showroom, because somebody may have never seen that. They don't even understand that, I got all these swirls on my car, and that's just natural. I mean, I've been washing it with grandma's old terry cloth towel for 100 years. That's every car I've ever had. When you see that can be removed, that paints a new picture, right? It alters that image of the greasy old mechanic behind in the tent. So that's
that's a huge thing to come from. Now mechanic shops have changed. Now people know.
Oh yeah.
I mean, there's some that you eat dinner off of.
Yep. You
know what I mean? It's the same thing with detail shops. Finally, all of us in the automotive industry have come from that rough, gray floor, white wall, lifts here, random stuff there, parts in the corner kind of scenario to where it's much cleaner. But we have a lot more tools, a lot more organization, a lot more resources to make that happen. At that point, that's the integrity of that individual to make those decisions to make that happen.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's where the choices where, they come to this shop, then they go to the shop down the road. And it doesn't matter how long you've been doing it. If you're not doing it the right way, I mean, you could do something the wrong way for a very long time. Or do something very basic for a very long time. I know there's people in this industry that, and I don't take this from them, but they've been doing in the detail industry for 30 years. Detailing cars, boats, everything they can get their hands on. No job too small kind of scenario. But they've only been washing and waxing for 30 years. Basic interior cleaning. That's great. It's common core to say. Basic cleaning, things like that. But then 6 months later, they want to get into trying out paint correction and ceramic coatings. And then they take and try to carry that same title over. We've been doing this for 30 years. Mm-hmm. No. You just went into a whole new realm. Yes, there's a lot of similarities of products and procedures that carry over, but you still have 6 months experience on doing this, not 30 years. You have 30 years washing cars and waxing them, not 30 years doing paint correction and understanding how paint reacts with different pad and product combinations, different machines, throws, all the variables that go into that. You're still getting a grip on that. So to say you have that, that's false advertising. And that's where it's weird how that works out. And that's
yeah, and the challenge is for the consumer, right? Because the consumer is not going to know the difference unless, like you suggested, they go visit a shop. I mean, because you can walk into this shop and walk into a shop that I know in Nampa, Idaho that I've gone to, and there is a major difference just by walking into the shop. I would walk in there and I'm like, yeah, I'm bringing my BMW Z3 in here or my
Story you tell.
Calabria. I'm not bringing in even my, daily driver to the other guy because of the presentation, the environment.
He may do badass work.
And he may
Right,
do great
right.
work,
But he's
exactly.
shooting himself in the foot because the image, when somebody walks in this door within the first probably 2 minutes, they're going to get an image of what it is you do. They can look around the room. If they're perceptive, they're going to see your picture 14 times on products, right? Oh, this guy's involved in a lot of stuff. They're going to pick up, he's a family guy. There's a picture of his kid. They see, they're going to be perceptive. They do the same thing at a crappy shop. They're very perceptive. If I walk in and I see just a huge pile of dirty towels, I'm like, I don't want those touching my car. Does he reuse those? Is it soaking up the
I've seen
floor?
that pictures that people post on social media.
Yeah.
They're like, check out this car, and then in the background they've got a workbench with stuff scattered everywhere, towels here, towels there, and it's like, car shiny as hell, but what the hell is that? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like, you're completely just an oxymoron there. Great, car looks great, but this is the shop we did it in, and let's get a close-up on that. No, let's keep a distance.
Well, clean
Yeah.
up your area. I mean, that's the thing is you got to clean up your area, and everybody's,
I do that with shots in here. I'll go to take a shot from behind the vehicle to show obviously license plate off and what the rear looks like, and then the bathroom door will be open with the freaking toilet right there. And I'm like, oh, we gotta close that door.
Close the door.
Nobody wants to see the shitter.
It's
Nobody
clean.
wants to
I
see
saw
that.
a social media post of somebody ceramic coated the inside of their toilet the other day. That's the only time you want to
works.
see a toilet in a picture.
No, but that's the thing. Like with a lot of the stuff that's in here too, it's stuff I've just accumulated from the events and projects I've worked. You know, and the biggest thing I learned about this industry is there's a lot of fake it till you make it. There's a lot of them that take one event that they've worked and they'll talk about that event for years to come. Like it was the pinnacle of their life. You know, it's like the high school graduate that was also the star football player.
Yeah.
That was the peak of his life. He talks about it for the next 30 years. He did nothing else with his life. There's a lot that have that, and I'm not taking away from him, not bashing him by any means, but there's a thing of owning something you've done, and then it has its expiration.
Yeah.
You know, that's where I was like, I don't want an expiration. Well, what can I do next? How hungry can I stay with each project, each event? And then by doing that, it builds a ridiculous resume. So when it comes to, not the end of the line, but to a point where you're like, okay, I've got this resume. I've got this hearty, long list of things that not only have I done once, but multiple times. How can I make that work for me now? Now that I put all that physical labor into doing all those things, all that travel and all that money, where can I utilize this to make me money now?
Yeah.
Well, it's a depth. It's a depth of knowledge. It shows a depth of doing those kind of events and putting out there for those things. I mean, if you've got, I've been to the Auto Geeks, this, and I went to Air Force One. I've been demonstrating at this, and I've spoken at this event. I've spoken at that event. It gives you this depth and breadth of experience and knowledge that paints a bigger picture. Than just that kind of that one-hit wonder. It's the same thing. You can equate to music, right? I've got 10 albums, or I had that one song that one time, and it was badass, man.
And it still rocks,
it's
but
still
it's
the
like
best song
the
ever,
rest of your
right?
album sucked.
Exactly. And you never had another one, right?
Yeah. No, I agree. But that's where I take little tokens from every event, and I try to find some way to utilize them. I had one guy come in here, and it kind of threw me off, and I had to think about it for a while. And it was an older gentleman. And he's like, "Man, you sure do got a lot of pictures of yourself in here." And I was like, "Oh man, that's not good." I was like, "I wonder what that looks like coming," because I know where this stuff came from. I know how I got it. They're from SEMA. They were gonna throw them away. Why not keep them? Why not send them back? And but to a consumer, they don't know the backstory behind that. They come in here and they see, again, like you said, there's a picture of me. It's like, maybe I should change that. And then I'm like, nah, there was only one person out of the last couple of years that those have been up. It's not that big of a deal.
Well, and the other thing too is I'm thinking about a question that Chris West from Solution Finish asked. He said, "How do you know when somebody's a master?" And there's a difference when you walk into certain shops, especially your shop. You see master level, not only detailer but business owner, right? And what I find is that those that have risen and invested in themselves over years to become that master level, they end up being the guys that are teaching. They're the influencers, right? And so that's really the legacy that I think the ultimate goal of someone like you or Rennie or Mike Phillips at Auto Geek or Bob and Dave, they're really building legacy, and they're doing everything they can to elevate the industry by being a good ambassador for the industry as a whole.
Yeah.
Right? It's not come in and look at all my pictures of me.
No.
Come in and say, look, I'm a contributor to the industry.
Yeah, look where we've been, look
Yeah.
what we've done.
Yeah.
We've taken pictures to prove it.
Yeah.
That's essentially. But no, and to touch on that master thing, there's a big controversy within the industry. We're with the Detailers Network and the Detail Mafia, really the only network and group that has a recognized platform for how you become a master. There's no
Yeah.
other group that's, there's a lot of good groups, but they're loose compared to ours, and that's just so tight how we run things as a organization. I don't
Yeah.
want to say association, because that's what the IDA is. We're
Right.
more of an organization,
Mhm.
hence Detail Mafia. But with that, a master, a lot of people are like, oh, you can never master anything. The title master is not for you saying you know it all.
No.
It's to say that you've done enough to be relevant, and not only to be relevant, but you know it so well that you have enough to give back, that it's a track record that could help somebody else be as equally successful if they put it into play.
Mhm.
And you continue to strive to be current and learn those new ways, along with being able to embrace change and integrate that into old ways.
Yeah.
And overall just have that kind of come together. And that's, I think, what mastering is a lot of different variables, the craft, the business, like you had mentioned. And that's where people get it wrong. I think they're just so intimidated by how much more time they have until they become to that level mentally,
Yeah.
that it's easier to resist the idea of it and talk crap about it than it is to understand and be like, okay,
Yeah.
eventually one day. But,
Yeah.
people want instant gratification.
Yeah.
If it takes 7 years or 10 years till that gratification kicks in, then they're like, oh, screw it, I don't want to be a master anyways.
Yeah.
Well, they do that on the inside. On the outside, they exude this cockiness, and I separate those two: cockiness and confidence,
Mm-hmm.
right? And some people are cocky, right? Oh, look at this! I did this, and you're like, okay, that's great. Or they're like, I'm proud that I did this because
Yeah.
it's the first level to getting to what I mean. It's the first time I did it, or blah blah. You can just hear somebody talking about it. Oh, this is the first time I've used this product, and it turned out pretty good. But I don't know how to use it very well, and I don't. That's why I think I was very impressed at the PNS distributors when we went to RoadFS. And you've got, and I posted something on it, I'm like, you've got probably some of the best detailers in the entire industry all clamoring around this new tool, not because they're cocky that they know how to use it better than anybody else, but because they want to learn the difference between this tool and that tool, and can they do the same level that they do with one they already know.
Yeah.
They may not know this one.
Yeah.
The old adage, it turns the
Absorbing,
wrong way.
engaging, understanding.
Learning and teaching, and you get somebody like Mark Elliott and Kyle that were sitting there, and I grabbed the RoadFS. It's the first time I ever had one, and instantly both of them, not in a punitive way, very, very gentle. Both those guys, huge guys, but very gentle when they
came
speak
and put
to
their
you.
one hand
They
over
did.
both your hands?
Yeah.
To hold the polisher?
One of them right on my head. Yes. No, and he's like, you need to put a little bit more pressure till you see about half the pad go down, and then and I'm just very, very good at teaching you, and in a way that they want you to learn. There's not 1 ounce of them that cares if you ever, like you said, became better than them.
Yeah, no.
To them it's impressive. It's like, oh shoot, I couldn't take that out, and you did. That was great.
Here's the thing, that's what I love. It's like, sometimes you don't want to be first. Because if you're not first, what are you going to chase?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're second, you've always got first to chase.
Yeah.
But if you're first, then you're there. And then what are you chasing? What is there to get? I mean, you have to pioneer something. You have to change something. You have to do something new. I get that. That's cool too. But when you're right there and there's somebody better than you, you always have something to chase. There's always something there to be hungry for. And that's where the humbling aspect of that is. But at the same time, it's, with I lost train of thought where I was at with that. I was thinking of one thing and then we went into that. But the humbling aspect overall, I'll finish. The humbling aspect of being helpful and moving forward and not being cocky, and that's where I was at.
Yeah.
The difference between confidence and cocky, and I learned this in boxing and fighting. This day and age, when somebody's confident and they want to talk about it, be loud and proud, everybody thinks that's cocky. But if you did it and you own it and you've been there and you're just talking about it, that's not.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like a champion who fights. If he's got the title and he talks about how he kicked everybody's ass, that's not cocky.
He did it.
He did it.
Yeah.
So what's the difference in somebody, going out and accomplishing all these events and talking about it and being proud of it, and then when a customer comes in to sell them on a service that they've done 100 times over with their eyes closed and to be confident in it, I'm sorry the guy down the street is questioning his own work, but yes, we can do that, and we can do this, this, and this.
Yes.
Same thing with the fighter. The fighter has the title. That's not cocky. That's the confidence, because he knows he's accomplished so much that now it's just who he is. It's what he's become. It's where he's at in life. And that's where people get it confused, because again, this day and age, instead of people appreciating the positives, they want to pick apart the negatives.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that's really what people try to build themselves up by tearing somebody else down. If you want to talk about, to me, the big difference is if I want to talk about my abilities and I can back that up, that's one thing. That's confidence.
Yeah.
But if I want to build my abilities by tearing yours down, if I'm watching somebody else and I'm way better than that, I'm way better. You're not doing it. Show me. If I can show you that I can do that, that's great. That's me having abilities. But if all I can do is tear somebody else down, that's nothing. That doesn't do anything for anybody,
No.
you or them. So that's why, like, in our industry, as well as like with yours, you talk about what you can do. You don't talk about what the other guy. You welcome, go down to the other shop, take a look at what they do. It's going to speak for itself. I don't have to talk about it, and I don't have to talk about our competitors because their stuff speaks for themselves. I'm going to talk about our abilities and what we can do. And I think that's the difference that most people don't get. I've had a lot of people, like when we were at the SEMA show, come up to me and talk to me about the Mafia and the IDA, and why is it that everybody that's in the Mafia seems to be so cocky? And I'm like, be careful, because they're not cocky, they're confident in their abilities. I watch these guys
so many times.
Right.
So many members have said that, have made statements, have brought that up as a topic subject while out at events.
Yeah. And you say, look, these people go to more trainings and have more certifications and more
Continued
recertifications than most of the industries in automotive. Right? You can go become, you can go become whatever you want to be and be a certified person, but how often are you retraining? How often are you looking at new products and new tools and new techniques? And people are doing it constantly. That's the one thing that I think has changed a lot in the last probably 8 to 10 years, is how much training people go through. Like we were just talking with the gentleman that came in here, Scott.
Mm-hmm.
When are you going to go to MTE? Well, I'm going for Education Day. That's where his value is learning.
Yep.
And that's a big difference, I think, in where people are at today than several years ago.
No, I agree. And the flip side of all that is what people view as all those things of helping and doing that, but the success behind all that is where people have, and I get it, different perceived value of what success is.
Mm-hmm.
And within how successful they can be if they have more education, how successful they can be if they do better paint correction. But at the end of the day, I think, the whole persona of success is when you have a challenge, you overcome that challenge. No matter what it is, what level it is, that's success. If you've last year only made 30,000 and you pulled in 50 the next year or 40, that's success.
Yes.
Because you did better than you did the time before. And the challenge was how to become better, how to figure out how to be better. And that's everybody looks at success differently, but as long as you're overcoming your goals and your challenges, at the end of the road for each of those is success.
Yeah.
And that's where a lot of the challenges of people learning to be better, do better, be more humble, that's success. When you're able to achieve that and put your demons aside because you can't focus on the positive and you're so focused on the negative, success is when you're able to take and look at things in a positive manner, smile, enjoy people's presence. Because like with team sports, you may play against each other in the arena, but when you retire, you're all kicking back, having beers, you know,
Talking
eating
about
dinner
the
together,
battle.
talking about what happened in the
Yeah.
arena. Now all of a
Yep.
sudden you're best of pals.
Yeah.
Same thing in the detail industry. You know, you may be in the same town and bumping heads now because you have 2 different business approaches, but when it's all said and done and you sell off or retire or whatever the case may be and you meet back up later in life, all of a sudden you're best of buds.
Yeah.
And that's successful. But
Yeah.
unfortunately it's what you see later down the road versus right now.
Well, and it's also what people want to perceive as what, again, social media, what is successful. You know, I may never own a Lamborghini. Well, that's okay. That may not be how I view success. You know, the things that I want in my life may not be what someone else perceives as successful, you know. And vice versa. I may look at something somebody else doesn't go, that's great, you go knock yourself out. But
Yeah.
that they made it, right? To them, that's the shit. They made it. That was their goal,
Yep.
life's dream, they achieved it. And so
Yeah.
I think success is really based on your individual thing. And Jody and I look at it a lot with success is you're the pilot and you've got like 147 knobs in your business and you're adjusting them all the time. And as long as you adjust them, you're improving whatever area that is.
Yeah.
Whether that's more people, more money, better this, better that, have a bit more paint on the walls, better image, higher quality of client. One of our things we did several years ago is we said we want a different level of client. We don't want this level of client. And not that, you know, there's some people that want to have clients that are, you know, $10 here and there. We wanted to have higher levels of clients, more users and all that kind of stuff. And that's a success. You know, you want to
Yeah.
work on only cars that bring in X number of dollars per hour. You know, that's one of the things they talk a lot about in detailing is how many dollars an hour are you working for? Well, some people can be successful at, there's a guy in Idaho, goes to a dealership, and this dealership will not pay more than $75 per car. And nobody else in town will deal with this guy. And there's a customer of ours that's been at that dealership for like over 10 years. And they make good money at $75 a car. And they've figured out how to do it. And he's successful at it where everybody else failed. And it's just, you know, how do you adjust those knobs?
Yeah, no, that's exactly what it is. It's just that individual path that individual is walking in life. They have their own challenges, and overcoming those challenges is what is successful. And obviously we have our own perceived value of everybody's life, but that's where you gotta kind of sit back and be like, you know what, stay in your lane. Focus on your own life.
Stay in your
You know,
lane.
respect others and help your friends, your family, but just, you know, that's I think where we went wrong with social media is because you get a window and a snapshot of everybody else's life in the world. Before this, when it was flip phones, you didn't get a snapshot. You got a snapshot through TV. You got a snapshot through traveling. You got a snapshot through going places and spending time with family or friends in your travels.
And the key is you get a curated view of that life. You
Now-
don't get all of the trouble. Typically, you're not getting the backstory, the challenges. You're only getting the highlight reel.
Oh yeah, yeah, oh yeah. That makes a world of a difference. And that's and to know about most people's past versus the highlighted reel would change perspective dramatically.
Oh, yeah.
Dramatically.
Yes, it was.
You know, some people that are so likable could be very unlikable. I can say that about myself too, which I don't mind, you know. But it's just one of those things that's the cool thing about social media, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's honestly, the people who keep it real on social media are the same people you see at the events that are the same people you see on social media doing the same thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, that's another reason why I stay so involved for my own peace of mind is that, you know, I want to show people that I'm real as can be with this. But what I say on here or what I say elsewhere is the same thing I'll say anywhere else.
Yes.
Now, there's some things I won't broadcast publicly. If somebody came to me on an individual basis, you know, just
Sure.
like I have my own conflict with, you know, people within my own arena of detailing that claim to be something that they're not. Their performance is here, but they're claiming it here.
Yeah.
Now I have a problem because you're playing on my playground doing it.
Yeah.
You know, and I've always had that kind of issue in the industry, even with fighting.
Sure.
You know, you said you had all these fights, but you won't get in the ring and spar, or you had all these fights and you got in the ring and sparred, and what the hell? What are you, your first day? You know what I mean? It's like a good business plan. It all looks good on paper until you got to put it into action.
Yep. Yep.
You know, that's what it
Execution.
comes down to. It's like, so, you know, but I don't, those are the things that, you know, collectively we have our own things that we pick and choose to talk about publicly and non-publicly. I'm very transparent with a lot of stuff. Sometimes my mouth gets ahead of me. I don't care though. I think that's the fighter's background I have.
I think that's, when you say keep it real, those are the people that I appreciate people being honest. I'd rather have somebody come up and be honest with me and tell me at the beginning than try to sugarcoat it and lie to you. And
like we did with the programming.
Yeah.
I was just like, hey, I want to do this.
Yes.
And I think that's what a lot of the product influence and the engagements I've had. These aren't things that like I went and was just like, hey, you need a guy, you need a face.
Yeah.
It's just like, hey, they came to me like, do you mind doing this? I'm like, I'm gonna be honest with you.
Yep.
If it's crap or I don't like something about it, you're gonna know. They're like, no. That's what we want.
That's what we want.
Because other people, I give you something free and you're just so happy that I gave it to you for free. They're like, yeah, this works great, man. Thank you. Appreciate it.
My new favorite thing.
Yeah,
I've never even taken it out of the box. Right? You're like, you could open it. But that was one of the things that I really appreciated about Rennie as well. I mean, you're very honest with the stuff and what you want. And Rennie did the same thing after his 2 keynote speeches. Came to me and said, and he said it in a term. He goes, I want gloves off honesty. Right? He doesn't want anybody to blow smoke.
No.
He wants you to tell me what you saw. You know, was it good or bad or indifferent? And you get the quickest road to anything. I don't care if it's a product, a business, or something personal. That's the quickest road to getting that fixed or resolved. Is to just be honest about it. You know? It's like, hey, this needs to change. This doesn't work. This is why. Excellent. Let's change it and move on. You know, I'm sure that the products that you represent love that. You know, hey, I don't like the way this performs. You know, this particular wool pad, there's all kinds of fluff going everywhere. It's worse than the other ones you've come out with. I don't know what it is. And I'm like, it's a new blend or whatever. I mean, instant correction instead of, hey, this is my favorite new pad, and then 6 months later, I got everybody hating it, and they're like, God, Justin didn't tell us anything about that. You know, I mean, it's just it helps everybody. So.
No, I agree, and that's, you know, where it goes back to business, like in the coding world. You know, there's 3 main topics in the industry that people don't talk about, that shouldn't be talked about or have a hard time talking about, that create conflict: politics, religion, and codings. and codings. So with that said, you know, that's where, like, you know, again, going back to somebody who's inexperienced with putting the codings on, what I've come to find out, you know, with these is the necessary evil of failure. If a product fails, how and why? Finding the solution, finding the reasoning, and making sure it doesn't duplicate itself. If you could do that on many different levels, then at that point, and telling your customers that and being honest, that's being transparent, that's being real. You know, versus being like, oh yeah, it works great, never had a problem.
Yeah. It's
chemistry.
Yeah.
You know, it's just, things happen. You can't control it all. You know, just like software, even with you guys, even though you put it in, you put the damn matrix looking numbers and all that stuff in, things happen.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And it's like, it is sometimes, but having a solution or documenting that in your head to know, okay, we have this problem, this is what we did. Now, next time around when that happens again, you're like, oh,
let me figure it out.
Let me figure that out. This is what we did before. Oh, there, got done. As to where, like, with coatings, you know, you get the guy who's never had failure, and then the first time he has one, oof.
Well, he either learns from that mistake and that failure, or he goes, oh, that's crap product, I'll never use it again. And again, back to our cocky and confidence. The cocky person's going to always blame it on something else.
Yeah.
The confident person is going to go, why did that fail? Did I have too much heat? Was in the direct sunlight? Was the fan blowing on it? What was going on? Could it just be a bad batch or whatever? I mean, it's like, you talk to Dave Phillips. He doesn't love it, but anytime there's a failure, like we pulled some bottles out that have been stored for a while, and he's like, give me that. And he wanted to analyze why it failed, why it hardened, why it wasn't mixed together.
The better you understand that, the better you become in general. And that's what a lot of these guys don't understand. Anybody could apply these products all day long. But it's after you've applied them, the maintenance, the failure, the issues. What do you do then? Once you understand those things and have solutions, you may not have every solution, but when you have a good majority of solutions, at that point you become very lethal.
Yeah.
Because now, you know, if you're like we are, where we have services that have the customer coming back as a retention for maintenance, for just a basic or seasonal or annual, whatever it may be, during those times, you have the opportunity to make it right, whether they notice it or not. And if you have multiple solutions for the problem and it doesn't burn your time, then it's always right.
Yes.
Yep.
Now you've got a happy customer no matter whether that product worked or not. It's always on point to them. You know what happened in-house, but that's on you. That's what you deal with in-house.
Right.
Once it leaves here, just keep it at that level.
Yeah.
But having a solution for all that is what makes a difference. Again, that goes back to, it doesn't even have to be coatings. It could be sealants or waxes, but we know that the coatings do have that durability. They do have that repair value. You can't just go with Dawn detergent and compromise them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Right.
Sealant or wax, obviously, that you are at some
Yeah,
level.
you
You're chemically
remove them.
degrading the product.
Right.
But those things are what I think in our industry right now, with the biggest thing is the hype of those. They're not going nowhere. I mean, gosh, I got a product here. I'm not going to show the label. I would love to, but I don't know how much it's been marketed. So this is put through a foam cannon.
Wow.
2 years. And I can't remember whether he told me he found a third-party warranty that gives it a 2-year, either a 2-year or a 4-year guarantee. Foams, so you correct it, you pull it back outside, you foam this on, you rinse it down, it's coated. That's it.
Wow.
Every surface it touches. Now obviously it lasts longer on paint, because that's what it's made to adhere to.
Right.
But yeah, that in itself, that's game-changing. How we looking, sir?
Well, guys, it's end of day, and yes, Justin had to go, so it was a super packed day. Hopefully those nuggets were helpful for you in growing your business, and we will catch you on another episode of Mafia Memoirs. And remember, we will be at Mobile Tech Expo this week, so make sure you drop by and see us. Have a great day.